dreamed of, forsaken I am, damned. A distant calling draws me near. A faithless life is my one and only fear. Rescue me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Rescue me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Forgotten journey I must make. Ripped from the pages, secrets I can't shake. A distant calling draws me near. A reckless life is my one and only fear. Rescue me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Rescue me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Let me know. Should I let you go? Let me know. Should I let you go?
Hey, what's up, Long Island? We are here again with the next edition of the Justice Hour with Miss Pamela Roth. How are you, Pam?
I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon, Jim. Good afternoon to my listeners and viewers.
Sorry for our late start. I was woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Sorry.
And just for the inside joke that no one knows about, I actually made it today ahead of my guest and before the producer.
Yes. Yes. Schooled me. She schooled me.
So welcome everybody back to another hour with me for this week's edition of the Justice Hour with Pamela Roth, your host. That's me. And I would like everybody to please welcome my wonderful guest today, Robin K. Miller. And Robin K. Miller is a female correction officer from Rikers Island. And we're here today to discuss her book called Inside the Dark Underbelly of Rikers Island. If everyone could see that. And this is actually available for purchase at robinkmiller.com.
Yes.
Correct? So welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
Well, we had a lovely conversation while we were trying to get the studio working correctly. You know, sometimes men can't get it right the first time. Well, I was reading through your book, and I am very impressed with it.
Thank you.
And I know from reading through your book that this was not an easy undertaking for you. It's very personal. Is that correct?
Yes, very personal.
So this is not just, as we were saying, an angry woman speaking out and lashing out at, government and against former employees and colleagues.
No, it started out like that, but no, I cleaned it up before I released it.
Now, for our viewers and our listeners, can you tell us how long have you been, or were you a correctional officer?
I was a correction officer for 20 years.
And was that only at Rikers Island?
No, I worked at Rikers Island, C-76. At the time, it was New York City Correctional Institution for Men. Right. From there, I went to Manhattan Courts. From there, I went to Manhattan House. And then I ended my career at Brooklyn Courts.
Oh, okay. So when you were at Manhattan Courts, that's actually at the courthouse?
Yes.
And then when you were at the Tombs?
Yes, I went to the Tombs as well.
And then when you said you finished your tour of duty, that was in Brooklyn Courts?
Yeah, the last 10 years. Because after I was in the Tombs, I went out for 3 years, maternity leave.
Right.
And I came back, and then I went to Brooklyn Courts, and I did my last 10 in on 120 Skimmerhorn in Brooklyn.
That's a criminal court.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, over the years that you were a correction officer, did you find that one jail facility was better or worse or the same than the others?
Well, Rikers Island is it will always be a little bit worse because just to get there, the bridge, the buses, like when you work in the they call them preferred assignments outside of Rikers Island. The only difference is you don't have the bridge. I mean, some of the shenanigans go on, in the smaller facilities, but that's the only difference. The officers maybe a little bit more laid back,
right,
like in the courts. Maybe a little bit more well behaved, because there's always a threat hanging over your head. If this happens or that happens, they'll ship you back to Rikers Island.
Now, as part of your duty over the years, were you only assigned to women inmate facilities, or did you also guard and part of your job have to do with men inmates?
I never worked with the females.
So it was always male inmates?
Yeah, I worked with the men, from adolescents to adults.
Was that at every facility?
Yeah. I was in, as a matter of fact, when I came on the job in 1983, we were the first females to go on the B post. The B post is like it's a housing area. A housing area may have anywhere from maybe 100 to 250, something like that. And normally the females would have the A station, which is it's A officer, it's a B officer. The A officer handles all the paperwork. The inmates go to court, the inmates want to go to the yard, They don't go behind the pens because it's a big cell with like a bunch of bunk beds, and then it's locked. The officer's locked behind the gate. Females didn't work back there until I came on the job. Then they had passed some kind of, not a law, but the guys went to court. The male officers went to court because they got tired of the females just doing A station. So my class was one of the first classes to literally go behind the B gate. So I was in the back with them in their underwears, the whole nine. This is their sleeping quarters, and the gate is locked. So I mean, every tour, the day tour, afternoon tour, midnight tour. It's like, but I never worked with the female prisoners.
What was it like being a correction officer at Rikers Island?
Well, for me, it wasn't bad. As far as working with inmates,
right.
The problems was my colleagues.
Did you feel safer working with the inmates than with the colleagues?
Oh yeah.
And what actually made you decide to become a correction officer?
The money. Somebody brought me an application. I was working in the bank, making $11,000 a year, Bankers Trust, Wall Street, 16 Wall Street. And this guy brought me an application. It said correction officer, but I just seen salary. I was making 11. That said 21, 27 after 3 years. I said, I'm out. I took the test. They called me. I went through everything within 6 months, and I was out.
Now, from reading your book, I see that you had a family member. Your sister was a correction officer.
Yes.
Did she have any influence on you in making that decision?
No, she had my nephew. She was working 3 jobs, and I had the job already, and I was making a lot of money and buying houses, and I was living good, and I wanted her to have a good life for my nephew. So I told her to take the test.
Oh, so you were a correction officer first before your sister?
Yes, and I encouraged her to take the test. I mean, it's still a little office politics, and the he said, she said. Like I was having issues, or they was having issues with me. Some of my colleagues, but at the end of the day, it was about supporting myself, and I wanted my sister to support her and my nephew. So,
now, your nephew, in reading the book, that was Delamar?
Yeah, Delamar.
And where is he now?
He's in prison now.
Okay. Was he an inmate at Rikers Island while you were working there?
Yes, he got arrested when he was 17. Well, similar to the Khalif Browder story, something he didn't do. Right. They said he did a robbery. He was living with me. I had custody of him. I knew his whereabouts all the time. So when they said the day when they arrested him, I asked him, what day did he supposedly rob somebody on my block? They said, the day that they said, I knew he wasn't even in the area. So
what happened with the case?
He wound up going back and forth. He had $10,000 bail. I wasn't paying it. Like he stayed in prison until he stayed in for 17 months.
At Rikers
going
Island?
back and forth to court. even to the point that one of the two co-defendants, because he had two co-defendants, they wound up coming to Brooklyn courts. And I knew all his friends.
Right.
And I didn't know them. And I asked them, I said, look, I know you ain't going to tell me who did it. I said, but did my nephew do this with you? And they said, no, we told the DA he didn't. So I said, was the guy tall or short? My nephew's tall. He said the guy was short. The guy that got away, because one got away. Obviously, three people robbed somebody. Right. Those two got caught. One got away. They tried to pin it on my nephew. So once I found that out, and they was in Brooklyn courts on another case. So they was going upstate. So what I did was I called the legal aid and I left him a message. And I said, if you don't get my nephew out of here now, I got statements from those two guys that stated my nephew didn't do it. You knew he didn't do it. And you got him going back and forth to court. He had already got slashed in his face.
He got slashed at Rikers.
Yeah.
And
so
we were talking about that. Rikers Island is notorious for that.
Yes. And I said, you better get him out. Or I'm going to Al Sharpton, I'm going to the news, I'm going to everybody, because I got statements now from these guys stating that my nephew didn't do it with them. And then next thing you know, that Monday, they bring him back to court and they want him to plead guilty to time served.
But plead guilty for something he didn't do.
Yeah, well, he wanted to get out, so he pled guilty to time served.
Well, unfortunately, I know from reading your book, and also, I'm a criminal defense attorney now for more than 20 years. And unfortunately, I hear from a lot of my clients that, when I tell them, listen, we have to go, we have to fight the case. And yes, it's going to be another month. It could be months. It could be even longer. But if you're innocent and you tell me you didn't do it, okay, we have to fight the case. And a lot of times they are in jail. The family cannot afford the bail. Or they may have a violation of probation, which is also holding them.
Yeah, it's another hold,
right.
Yes.
And they just get so frustrated. And they feel so, the system is against them.
Because the system is.
Right. They get to the point where, no, we just want to take a plea because we want to get this over with. And I can understand the frustration. And here I am telling them as a private attorney, I'm here to fight for you. And you can't just roll over and basically you're making the job easy for the DA. If you just say, I'm just going to take the plea. It takes time served. It's another hit on your rap sheet.
Yes. But at the time, you're going through so much, you're sitting in it. And they have them sitting on Rikers Island with nothing to do. They sit in the housing area all day.
Well, they get into fights.
Yeah, but they have nothing to do. What do you expect them to do? You got them locked in. If they in individual cells like caged animals, they took all the programs out. Because I remember when I started, they had at least some programs for, the adults and the kids to go to. They giving them nothing to do, and they sitting around. And that's how stuff happens. So no, he sat there for 17 months and then he pled guilty to time served. And they said, you cannot sue. That's why they do that. Because if you plead guilty, they don't have to pay you every day that you sat in there wrongfully falsely accused. So that was the first time. So with the Khalif Browder, I understood. He just fought. I get it. But you want to get out.
Well, the problem of staying inside is that there are times when you do have your court case that you don't get called to court either for whatever reason. They're not producing you. Or they'll produce you and then the case is not called. And you have inmates that are just sitting there. They
give them bullpen therapy. They want all of them to cop out. Before I retired, I worked in attorney visits. I used to have attorney visits. And I used to get the prisoner in the courts and take them to see the attorney. I used to listen to the legal aides and the 18Bs. And I used to find that a lot of the legal aides had so many cases. They wasn't getting paid that much money, and they just, I felt like they was just trying to make a bargain with the DA. Okay, you give me this one. This one got a bad record. You give me this one. You take that one and we're going to convict this one. I watched one of the legal aides tell a 16-year-old to cop out to 7 years for attempted robbery. His first time ever accused of a crime.
He should have been fighting for him to get probation.
No, he said 7 flat, and the kid took it. And to the point that when I let the attorney out and I took the kid back to the cell, I said, why did you cop out? I said, if you said you didn't do this, why did you cop out to 7 flat? And this is your first time arrested. He didn't even offer you probation or nothing. Flat, just 7 flat. And see, I think a lot of times these guys are not educated. These kids don't go to school. They're not educated.
They're not
and
educated.
They don't know. if you don't cop out, you can get 25 to life.
But now you have the attorney basically intimidating the client.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll listen to that. Yeah. You know, I couldn't say nothing. You know, but
that's wrong. Because I know in all the years, I started out in the prosecutor's office in the Brooklyn DA's office for 2 years. After that, I've been a criminal defense attorney in private practice. And I have never told a client to take a plea if I know we can fight for it. If it's a situation where, well, it doesn't look like it's going to get any better, you still have to fight for it. Otherwise, you're paying me a good amount of money as a retained attorney. If you're going to just roll over and take a plea, you don't need me for that. You could have stayed with a legal aid.
right.
You could have stayed with court-appointed attorney. You're coming to me because you're expecting me to fight for you and try and get you the best deal possible.
No, I was looking for Lamont. I thought I heard him banging.
Who's coming?
No, because he got to be close by now. Yeah.
And who is Lamont?
Lamont is my business partner for this TV series. Okay. And we're waiting for him to come in. He's doing the camera work. He's doing lights, not lighting. No, we're getting DP. He's doing the camera work. He's doing the editing. You know, he's like my right-hand man for this project, this upcoming TV series.
And the TV series, again, is going to be based on the book from Robin K. Miller called Inside the Dark Underbelly of Rikers Island. And
yes, it's called, the movie right now, it's a working title, it's Rock Island, because the TV series is Rock Island. It is derived from the book, but I also wrote a movie. The movie's, I'm going to film the movie after the TV series, after I shoot a couple of episodes. I'm shooting it's called Rock Island in November.
And it's spelled ROCKK.
Right.
With 2 Ks, Rock Island.
Rock Island, yeah.
Because I noticed that when I was on your website and going through the book, I said Rock, ROCKK Island.
But it's a combination of Rikers and primarily state correction, because I think state correction is far worse than Rikers. I think Rikers Island is ballet school compared to what's going on upstate.
See, and I have experience with that as well, because as I said, you know, all these years as a defense attorney, I have a lot of clients of mine who unfortunately are inmates on Rikers Island. And then I have other ones who take a plea or they're convicted at trial, and then that's when they're put into the state, system, and they're sent. It could be any place. They're sent to downstate. They're sent to Collins Correctional Facility, Greenhaven.
You got Attica. You got Clinton, Sing Sing. The worst one right now is Great Meadows. They call it Comstock. They are literally taking eyes out. Literally, I had about 4 people approach me this year alone. And I just put an article on my Facebook page. A 69-year-old man, they beat him down, broke his ribs, everything. About 6 of them jumped him. And
when you say the beatdown, this is not happening from other inmates. This is actually happening from correctional officers.
Yeah, correctional officers to inmates. They just, singling them out and just beating them down.
And when they do this, both at Rikers Island and in these upstate facilities, they take them to an area where there's no cameras.
Right.
So it's basically the inmate's word against the correctional officers. 99% of the time when these inmates file pro se against the correctional officers, while they're a state inmate, they're filing the claim in the court of claims. And normally they'll file it pro se. 99% of the time the court finds for the defendant, meaning for the criminal, for the prison.
Right.
They're finding, okay, you can't prove this, there's no violation of civil rights, or you didn't fulfill all of your, file the grievances to take care of it that way first. And then before you look to file a claim. But almost every single case they're finding for the prison.
And what they do is they beat you in your body. You know, they used to do that on Rikers, but not as much.
No, they still do it on Rikers.
Yeah, but I'm saying they beat you in your body so there's no bruises on you.
Right, they're kicking.
They take you to the blind spots in the jail. It's a bunch of blind spots.
Right, the corridors between one building and the next. There's absolutely no cameras, and they have them on the ground. They're kicking them. They're using the batons from their neck down to their torso.
That's what they did to my nephew. They beat him in the spine and everything. They beat him down.
Right, and then they deny medical treatment. And
they
falsify medical reports.
They made him refuse medical attention. And then to cover themselves, the officer came back and made him take a blood test so he can cover it up and say that my nephew bit him.
Yes, and it was self-defense.
Yeah, if anything came up in the future. So that's why when I wrote it, because the report is in the book. So anybody want to know how to write a report, what I did was I threw their playbook back at them. Because I was taught report writing. So I know what, we used to sit down, when I first came on the job and be an incident, we would sit down with the warden, everybody sit in a circle and everybody write the same thing, or the warden might take care of it. I worked under Sonati. I mean, don't worry about the reports. I got this. I mean, a lot changed, but it's certain things, it used to be too. I have no knowledge of the situation. They cut that out. But then there's certain things that you do to cover, I used to be part of sitting with the cover up.
Well, something, I have a situation right now with one of the wardens from one of the buildings. And again, this has to do with that slashing case I told you about with David Marrero. He's in one of the buildings, it's OBCC, and he was slashed in the face. They denied him medical attention for many, many hours. They refused to contact his mother. And then by the time he was finally taken for medical attention, when he was brought back to OBCC, again, they didn't provide him any medical attention. And then when I had filed the notice of claim and I had put it out there with the media and the TV and found out who the warden is, once we started blowing it up with the media and then contacting DOI, Department of Investigation.
Yeah, they're down with them. Go ahead.
They do nothing.
Yeah, they're down with them.
Right. Well, this warden, Gumsdeer, I don't know if he was there when you were there.
What's his name?
Gumsdeer. He's a pip. He actually has threatened me through my client. And he basically said that I shouldn't come onto the island, and that if I do, I have to watch myself.
And he's gangster.
Yeah, he thinks he's a gangster.
So maybe we need to put him in a TV series too.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because now what ends up happening is that they're harassing my client's mother when she goes to visit. They put my client on permanent booth visits. They are harassing every one of his family members when they come. And he actually said, your attorney can file as many reports as she wants. He goes, I don't give a crap. He goes, it's my jail. I'm going to run it the way I want.
Did you write to Schneiderman? Is that his name? What's the guy?
Eric Schneiderman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you write to him? Did you contact him?
We contacted the office. We also left messages with Cuomo's office in the city.
Oh, Cuomo, you can forget it. He don't care.
Yeah, nothing's happened.
He don't care. What about de Blasio? He didn't respond either?
No, he hasn't responded.
Okay, see, that's why I'm shooting a TV series. Because you know what? None of them have to respond anymore. Nobody responded when they beat my nephew up. Not one person. The only one that came to help me was Norman Siegel. But by the time he got there, it's like everything is all covered up. They
don't return phone calls.
Yeah, of course not. But my thing is, the reason why I was upset is because I gave 20 years of my life working with those hard criminals, turning them keys. And they beat my nephew up for nothing. They use excessive force. They almost killed him.
And they knew that you're on the job there too. And they
No, they didn't know, but they found out after they beat him up. They knew that after they beat him up, they knew they messed with the wrong person. And then after Norman went up there, they definitely knew they messed with the wrong person. And I've been riding them ever since. Every time, any jail, because I said, when you get beat up in one jail, then they make it look like assault on officer. And the reason why I know that they lie, because I don't just believe my nephew. I do my own investigation. Because if he had beat them up, or if he was the aggressor, or if it went that far, then he would have been arrested. He would have got no charge.
That's right. He would have filed charges.
Exactly.
On him.
And they didn't. But I tell you one thing. He said the next time, because he said he didn't fight them back. The next time somebody put their hands on him, until I can get him out, he said he gonna fight back. He's not gonna sit there and let them do that again. Because they beat four of them, beat him with batons. And I had plenty of witness statements, everything. So, what? Inside the Dark Underbelly, Rikers Island, yes. A retired female correctional officer speaks out.
We are talking about the book,
yes.
And this is Robin K. Miller's book.
Yeah, but the thing of it is that I was upset because I gave my life and no one responded. And I think that was disrespectful. And that's why in the back of the book, I wrote an open letter to Governor Cuomo, de Blasio, and a couple of on my feelings. I've tried to be diplomatic about it, but I think it's disrespectful. And I just think that the way the prison system is ran overall is just one big plantation from the state.
Do you foresee any changes coming up at Rikers Island in the future?
Yeah.
Well, as you know, de Blasio, and we were talking about this before, de Blasio proposal that he wants to shut down Rikers Island.
That's ridiculous.
Do
We're
you
going to stay in this house?
Well, that's what I was saying. You look around.
They're going to stay in his house now. Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're coming to Park Slope.
All the prisoners, yeah.
Prisoners and Park Slope.
Ooh.
So can you actually foresee, and you were there, you know the type of security that's in place Rikers Island. Can you actually making versions of Rikers Island in every single county? When you think of the amount of money, the amount of security that's needed, that has to be built, can you actually foresee that happening?
We can't afford it. First of all, the taxpayer is going to pay for it. We already broke. We can't afford it. Another thing is, no, you can't. You can't put them inside the communities. That's ridiculous. And my thing is, what I have a problem is, they want to move them off Rikers so they can build a little complex. They got the little money makers, the $1 billion money makers. They want to build a Starlight City type situation, or co-op city with the co-ops, the condos, the shopping areas.
Actually, even more exclusive, because if anybody knows Rikers Island, there's only one way in and one way out. Which
exactly.
Is that one bridge, and they're trying to build that into some exclusive enclave for people to say, "Oh wow, I live on what used to be Rikers Island." I really don't understand what's so exciting about that. I don't want to live in what used to be. In fact, it used to be a pig farm. Rikers Island started out as a pig farm.
Yeah, and then there used to be a plantation. Rikers was a plantation owner.
Oh.
Yes. So let them go ahead. And they used to torture inmates on Rikers Island.
But they're still doing it.
They used to kill them and torture them and bury them over there. So let them go ahead on Rikers Island and watch them same inmates come up, their spirits come up and haunt them while he's in their little kitchen. My thing is, what they should do, if they want to close Rikers, and if this is not about money, then all of those buildings up there, make them homeless shelters, make them factories for people to get jobs, like utilize that property for that. But to sit there and hear Judge Lippman and all of them act like they really care about them prisoners, that's ridiculous. Because if they cared about the prisoners, they would fix the prison up. They would start attacking the judicial system and start letting some of these guys out. Because when I started, it was only 5 buildings.
How many is it now?
It's about 10 buildings now or more. It's like they kept building like it's a business. At the end of the day, they made it a business. And a lot of them people shouldn't even be there.
Well, prison is a business. If you look at these jails upstate New York, the entire town literally makes money for that prison.
Yes, that's in the book.
Right, but who do you think exactly? Look who's doing the laundry.
Yes.
And it's everybody
the
from
vending
in the
machines,
town.
all of that. That's all contracts. That's all their little boys. Governor Chrome on all of them. They get their boys the contracts to help them politically. I know exactly how it goes. And the thing of it is, the only way that it's gonna stop is if I put it on a tube.
Well, if you're gonna put this out there, from the time that you wrote the book, has anybody who you've worked with, who you've exposed in this book by name, has anybody contacted you with regards to what you said?
No, I've only exposed 2 people by name. I wasn't going to give nobody attention to eat off my book. No, try to get a lawsuit. I mentioned 2 people by name. One guy that beat me up, and I have the report, the proof, evidence, and the guy I used to date, which is Chief Taylor.
Right.
And there's a building is named after him. So, I mean, he want to come and dispute that. I mean, we can talk about that too.
Where can we get this book?
Where is the book? Where can we get it?
You can get the book from RobinKMiller.com. Inside the Dark Underbelly of Rikers Island from RobinKMiller.com.
Which I had said at the very beginning of my show for anybody and everybody who is listening.
But George wants us to say it throughout the show. So we can go to RobinKMiller.com. That's RobinKMiller.com.
And if you go to Robin's page, there is also a GoFundMe site.
Yes.
You can click on the GoFundMe and you can make a contribution, any amount of money, on the GoFundMe page, because what we're doing is Robin is taking the book, and as she said, we are doing a production called Rock Island.
It's a TV series.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now joining us on the couch is Lamont.
Lamont.
Hello, Lamont.
How are you?
Hi, welcome.
Fine.
Come closer.
Come closer, Lamont. Uh-oh.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've had a little bit out here.
Little show. nice show.
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. So tell me how it is that you are involved with Robin K. Miller and the Inside the Baker's Island and the TV series called Rock Island.
Well, I'm a director.
Yes.
We've known each other for many years. A lot of production stuff, music stuff, and mutual acquaintances. And
He taught me film. My first film, I met him in 1994.
Nice.
Because I've been a filmmaker since 1994. And I met him, and he is the reason why I have so much experience now and knowledge about film and the film industry. He also introduced me to a lot of bigwigs in this industry. But go ahead, Lamont.
I come from the background of working with Alicia Keys for many years, doing a documentary in her life, working with a lot of artists, Rihanna, Diddy, I can go on, different TV shows. I shoot Beat Bobby Flay on the Food Network. I shoot Lift Every Voice, it comes on BET. Mm-hmm. I shoot various shows and music videos around the world.
And Will Smith.
And Will Smith. I did some stuff for Will Smith also. So what I'm bringing to the table is her view, her vision of what the world has never seen and what goes on in the inner workings of a prison.
Yeah, because you know something, everybody's impression of what happens in a prison is just what they see on television, whether it's in, Law and Order or CSI or Orange is the New Black, or, anytime that there's any sort of a news clip about something that took place at Rikers Island or any of the other local jails, whether it was any of the cases that I've had or Khalif Browder or any of these other cases, but it's usually from an attorney's perspective, speaking either on behalf of the victim or with the victim's family. This is really very rare because this is the first time that I know of that we're getting an inside look from a former correctional officer and a woman's perspective.
And with a good record.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
That's why they couldn't come after me. Yes.
A clean record. So it's
yeah, because we know all about the inmates. That's all they show. We know what the inmates do. Well, what do you expect when you lock them up like caged animals?
And the only time you really hear anything about a correctional officer is when a correctional officer does something to an inmate.
Yeah.
Now we're going to be able to hear about a correctional officer who had to suffer abuse and harassment and other situations from other correctional officers.
But I'm coming at it from a different angle, and it's top secret. It's not totally my story. Mm-hmm. It's the stories, like stuff you guys never even knew about. It's the stories behind the prison walls, almost like Tales from the Crypt. Like I'm telling the stories. So yes, some of my stories will be in there, right, but I'm telling stories overall.
Now, have the two of you interviewed any other people in the making of this documentary? Or like you said, it's based on everything.
It's not a documentary, it's a TV series.
Sorry, it's TV series. So is it based on everything that you're telling us with the stories?
Yes, it's based on truth behind the prison walls, city and state. Like what actually goes down, that people will never hear about. And that's why I have it. First of all, nobody gets a whole script but me and him. Like I'm not even putting my script out there. Like the actors, like I've been holding auditions. Right. We get ready to start rehearsals, and we're filming in November. Rock Island TV series.
And it's going to be filmed here in New York?
Yeah, okay. New York and New Jersey, and maybe Long Island, and maybe Philly. And the thing of it is, because it's such an original concept, an original idea, like it's going to be something that people, some of it is the book, but I'm coming at it from a different angle. And it's something that's never been done. And it's going to shake this world up because people need to know what's going on behind the prison walls, because it's nothing but one big plantation from abuse, torture, starvation, corruption, murder. They murdering them. They burying their bodies upstate. It's like, this is crazy. It's crazy. And people have no idea. And I don't expect them to know, because it's like if you're a cook, or if you're a nurse, you don't sit at your desk saying, "Oh, I wonder what's going on in prison today." Like, yeah, so it's like I don't expect people to know. That's why I encourage them to get my book, Inside the Dark Underbelly of Rikers Island, because it breaks it down, and it's not just about me. It's about the system overall, and anybody can go to jail. Anybody. Go ahead, Lamont.
Basically, I'm trying to create this story with the look and feel of, let's say, a Law and Order and a Narc, meaning that it's not so traditional television, yet it's going to have a lot of angles, a lot of cuts. We're shooting with red cameras. We're shooting with high-end gear, with drones and all kinds of. We're going to really shoot it like a real television show. This is not some coming with a little DSLR with just one little person with a camera or a small team. We going in.
This is high tech.
This is high tech. This is like, when you look at this, you're going to be like, wow.
We going to blow them away. We shooting our first episode. I wanted to shoot the entire series. I was raising money on Kickstarter. Didn't raise enough funds, so we shooting the first episode.
But also, we need money
to go to GoFundMe. Yes. And because that's why I went to the GoFundMe to try to raise money to shoot the first episode. And then after we shoot the first episode, we're going to blow them away. And I got some fantastic actors already.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to blow them away, and then we're going to shop it. And my thing is, I'm getting a lot of industry interest right now. He's getting a lot. George he's getting a lot of industry interest for the product. And it's never been done. It's to the point that I know what I have right now that I don't even want to sit down with a big wig, depending on how big they are, to do an NDA. Because they can still steal your stuff with an NDA. They can take some part of a concept. Yeah, you can sue them.
Right. But
you need money to sue them. So it's like, no, until I film this thing and put it out there.
Hold on to it.
Yes, because it's a procedural TV series. It's not like a Empire or Scandal or something where you got to watch it from the beginning. Each one is different. So
you can tune in and not worry like, oh, I missed last week and I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
So each show is individual onto itself.
Yes.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yes.
And where do you know yet if it's going to be on a cable channel or any of the other stations, or it hasn't been picked up yet?
Yes.
No, it hasn't.
No. I mean, today there's so many choices. There's like, from the HBOs, you name it, there is so many choices. So we're like, it's almost like the way the insurance company, car buyers, whatever. Okay, no, you don't tell it. We decide we want to go to you, because we have that choice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
This is hot. Yeah.
That's nice.
I know I'm sitting on a pot of gold. That's what it is. And at the same time, I can help the guys behind the prison walls.
Yes.
They need to stop what they're doing. Them correctional officers need to stop. Those superior officers need to stop. What they're doing is wrong. I can help them. I can help their families.
Help your nephew.
Yes. Oh yeah. Because he was wrongfully convicted. I'm going to get him out. I'm going to get him out right now. I'm just trying to make sure I can keep him alive, because that's a shame when you have to worry about your family member being alive in prison, not because of the other prisoners, because that's expected. Yeah, but because I worry, especially when he was in Great Meadows, I worry that they're going to hurt him.
And he's in the care and custody of corrections, and they're supposed to be keeping him safe.
Yeah, care, custody, and control. That's why I say they don't care. They lose custody, and they have no self-control.
Oh, they have total control over the inmates.
Yeah. They beat them up. And now they've got something new that they sharpening the batons now. Because, in Rikers, we can carry any weapons or batons. Upstate, they carry batons. Now they sharpen them at the end like a pencil, and they stabbing them for real now. So, yeah, well, all that's going in that TV series too. Mm-hmm.
So how long the two of you know each other?
Since 1994.
Beautiful.
I started, that's why I was trying to escape corrections. I was doing film on the side, and I was out. I took 3 years off. I had my daughter, and I had to go back to work. I didn't want to go back to that job. So I started acting when I was out. I was in a couple of little extra spots, Al Pacino's, City Hall. I was in Law and Order as an extra, and I caught the acting bug. And it's like, oh, I want to be an actress. Then it was time to go back to work. So I said, I'm going to write a movie to be in the movies. And like Billy Bob Thornton did. Right. So I wrote the movie. I did a trailer first. Shot a trailer, shot my first script. It was called Treat Her Like a Lady. Shopped it everywhere. That movie was stolen, by the way. Treated Like a Lady, yeah. A big movie, too. And then I shot a feature film. Because somebody said I was dealing with one of Spike Lee's boys, Earl Smith. He said, everybody has to shoot a feature film, an hour plus, 65 minutes or more to get in the door. So I said, I got to shoot a film. So I shot Chop Shop. I got tired of mechanics ripping me off. I've always been a reality-based writer. this woman goes on a killer spree, killing mechanics, and she don't get caught. And then after I filmed it, I had no budget, had no money, and then I met him to do the editing. And that's when we met, like 1994, 1995. Wow. And I used to sit with him to edit. That's how I learned more of the film. And then I just kept going, you know, I kept filming, and he kept editing. And, you know, we just remained in contact, you know, throughout the years. But he introduced me to a lot of people in the industry. He introduced me to so many people in the industry that was doing film. I had a film production company, and then I opened up a record label because he was introducing me to so many people, and they a lot of them was in the music industry. So I started artist development. I was developing artists. All of this on the side while I was a correction officer.
Very well rounded. Now let me ask you something, because I know in the back of the book you have here, it says Robin K. Miller has an important inside story to tell about the inner workings of our broken correctional system. Miss Miller is smart, tough, and compassionate. We need to learn from her experiences at Rikers Island in order to bring about necessary changes. And that was written by Norman Siegel, civil rights attorney.
Yep, that's my buddy.
And I interned with him.
Get out.
I interned with him the first summer out of law school.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Norman, if you're watching, I'm saying hello to you.
Norman better be watching. Norman, you better be watching.
You better be watching, Norman.
But then again, it started late. You know, Norman he's an important person. So Mr. Man back there started late, so we might have lost him. Nah, Norman is watching. Hey, Norm.
Hope you remember me.
He remembers everybody and everything. Oh, that's good. That's cool.
The summer that I was working with him, Norman, I'm sure you remember this, was when Giuliani was looking to get all the homeless people off the streets.
Get out.
And there was one woman, Billy Boggs, and I remember having to go up to speak to a number of homeless people that were put up in the mental ward up at Bellevue because they were taking them off the street. A lot of people that, you know, some of them did have some mental issues,
yeah.
You know, and there were other people that were put up there because given the choice of either living on the street or going into a shelter forcibly, they chose to live on the street. So what did? They got picked up by the police and they got put into the mental ward up at Bellevue.
And he fought to get him out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he's into this civil rights. He's like, he's dead. He's real with it.
That's how I got the bug, because most of my cases are civil rights cases against both NYPD and Department of Corrections.
Yeah, he's dead serious about. He cares about people. And like I said, he was the only one that came to help me.
He cares about the people that nobody else cares about.
Yes.
That's the best part.
Yes. I mean, when they beat my nephew up, I contacted everybody. I was frantic.
Did anybody listen to you?
Nope.
Except Norman.
Yeah, but he was still skeptical, probably, you know, and how calm he is, not unless he's fighting the case. So imagine him stuck in a car with me for 2 hours. First meeting me, going to see my nephew. And I was, he probably said, what in the world is going on?
Commercial?
Are we done?
No. Keep going.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, for anybody who's first joining us now, you are watching the Justice Hour with your host, Pamela Roth. I am an attorney. And sitting with me to my right is my wonderful guest, Robin K. Miller. And she is the author of the book called Inside the Dark Underbelly of Rikers Island. And sitting to her left is...
All right.
No, that's your... Oh, that's your right.
My right, yeah.
Lamont Burrell.
Lamont Burrell.
Lamont Liquid Burrell.
He is my partner for the movie, the TV series, writer, director, producer, editor.
Jack of all trades.
Yes, he's the man.
Good friend.
Yes, very good friend. And he's a nice guy. You don't meet too many people like him anymore. He's a really nice, decent guy.
Thank you.
Like I mean, everybody loves him. He's like a decent guy. So, and it's because of him I'm able to do this, even though I haven't been raising the money. They got to go to GoFundMe. I need help, but because of him teaching me and his experience, our experience together, We're going to get it done.
Well, speaking of money, again, for anybody who's first joining us now, again, I'm sitting here with Robin K. Miller and Lamont Burrell. And if you go to Robin's website, robinkmiller.com, not only can you order the book directly from her website, but you can also make a donation or contribution on the GoFundMe page, because Robin's project, it is going to be a killer, kick-ass, one-of-a-kind movie.
Yes,
series.
TV series.
TV series, movie, everything.
Wait, yeah, and the movie is, I can't wait to shoot the movie. See, the movie, I need a big budget for that. That movie is fire.
GoFundMe.
Yes, GoFundMe.com/Rock Island, ROCKKISLAND.
That's Rock Island.
Rock Island.
With 2 Ks.
That's right, ROCKK.
So going back to the book, there were a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. Aside from the excessive force that you were mentioning, where you have inmates like your nephew that are getting kicked and beaten, I'm sure you're familiar with, in the last couple of years, a number of correctional officers are using this pepper spray or mace, also known, I believe, as K9. It's this very potent chemical spray.
Yeah, they gave that to us. That was one of the things. Right before I left, they finally started issuing us the spray.
Right.
They tell you don't spray it though.
They tell you not to spray, but I have a number of cases that have been in the media.
Chemical agents, yeah.
Yeah, they're right. They're having a chemical agent, and it's being sprayed directly in their face and their eyes. So they're being blinded. They're coughing up. They're vomiting. They're spitting up. And at the same time, too, they're still handcuffed behind their back. So they can't even do anything as far as cleaning up their face. This, according to what I understood, they're supposed to be taken to an area to be decontaminated. Yep,
and they got to, I think it's cold water you rinse them off with or something. They got to wash them off immediately.
And they're not.
You got to go at, that's why you have to go after them.
Well, I am.
You have to go after them. And this is one of the things with the TV series. This is why I think it's important, because by me putting things out there for the world to see, they're not going to have no choice. People are going to start paying attention. And they're not going to have no choice but to go in and start cleaning it up. Once you expose them, see, they haven't been exposed.
No, but we've been exposing them over the last 2 years.
Yeah, but it's behind it.
Right.
But it's behind it. It's behind the glass. It's behind the table.
It's getting pushed aside.
Like the world doesn't know. Like everything now. We live in social media, visual. Everything is visual. If people see it, they have a better reaction. The thing is that when it's visual, you can keep playing it, keep playing it, keep playing it.
You're right, because if you only read about it in the newspapers, you hear about it once on the news, you're like, okay, that's yesterday's news. And as far as they're concerned, they think it's like, oh, it's a little pepper spray in the eyes. What's the difference?
Because after that, you said, because that's why I wrote the TV series, because after the book, eventually it dies down. The book is hot, we got to get it, blah, blah, blah. But then after a while, it goes away. So that's why I'm going to keep coming. So this is the TV series. And I want to do about 50 episodes. I want to do a bunch of seasons, about 50 seasons if I can.
Just keep hitting
and
them.
Just keep hitting them, every time they keep doing it, keep hitting them. And then when I do the movie, I come up with a solution to fix it.
Well, something, with all the stories that you want to bring up, there certainly is no shortage of stories.
Of course not.
Inmate abuse. You have the inmate on inmate abuse that is encouraged and condoned by correctional officers.
Yes.
And of course, you have the correctional officer abuse and assault on inmates. And there is no shortage of that. It's not only in Rikers Island, it is in every city jail. And more importantly, like Robin says, it's in every state facility in New York and across the country.
Yeah, and I think that the correction officers, the police of the jails, are worse than the police on the streets.
They can get away with more in the jails. Yeah,
because nobody cares about a person once they goes to jail. They automatically assume that, they're guilty, that they deserve it.
Well, the attitude is once somebody is arrested, before they even get to the arraignment, before they're even going through the whole system and the court system and with the, taking a plea or taking the case to trial, you're stigmatized.
Yes.
Being called like, you're a defendant, you're a perp, you're garbage, you deserve it.
Yep.
You must be guilty. You must be guilty of something. If you got arrested, you must be guilty of something.
Well, that's what they said when the academy, that's what they used to train us. They scumbags. They're not your friends. They're scumbags. They're the enemy. They train you like you going to war. Guantanamo Bay or something, like you going in there and then you go in there. It's like, depending on the type of person that you are, your mindset going in. So if, most men everything is ego and macho. So they going in, and as soon as the inmate asks for some toilet paper, it's like, shut up, scumbag. It's like,
Yeah, the cursing.
yeah, I just asked you for some toilet paper. Oh, because you say I just face. And for a man to slap another man, you know, and then the prisoner decides to fight, he's done. I watched a lot of that.
Yeah, because you get the goon squad coming in now, and they're beating the crap out of you. It's your word against theirs. And who do you think is going to win? Corrections, because they always do.
See, the difference between correction and the police is that on the streets, when the police be doing police brutality, there's always somebody standing there with a camera. But inside the prison walls, nobody's there with a camera, so nobody has proof. And like you said, they're going to the blind spots. If they got to do damage, they go to the blind spots, or they get rid of the tape. They don't even have to go to the blind spots. They go right in and get rid of the tapes. And if the right people, if they had an organization or something that watched that, then it may stop. But too many people's hands is in a pot. You know, it's a business.
But DOI is supposed to be policing them. Department of Investigation is supposed to be the organization.
No, Inspector General. Them. Yeah, Inspector General. Office. Yeah, they don't care. They down with them. My thing is, you hiring correctional officers to be Inspector General. What do you expect?
He's going to side with them.
You know, and the same thing with closing Rikers. You want to close Rikers. Okay, say for argument's sake, you want to close Rikers. You want to move them into the barrels because the conditions are bad on Rikers. But you taking the same officers and you taking them to them jails in them barrels. What? The building didn't hurt them. Buildings don't hurt people. Did this building hurt us? No.
All they're doing then is just changing the zip code.
Exactly. But you're taking the same officers that's beating them down and you taking them, you putting them over there in this new jail in Queens or Brooklyn or the Bronx or Manhattan. So you can close Rikers to build your little complex, but you taking that same Officer Jones, Peters, or whoever over to that jail, and they're gonna do the same thing they did on Rikers.
Just another location.
Yeah.
A newer building. Yes, Lamont, I'm sorry.
You know, would it be interesting if they use virtual reality or 360 technology like they do in Times Square, where there are no blind spots? You know, where everywhere you go, every block, every corner, every cell, every hallway, there's a master computer.
Yes, but that costs money. But they're not going to take that money and put it into bettering the conditions of Rikers Island because
too many people's hands is in a pot.
Too many people are going to get burned.
Yeah, and too many people rely on their businesses rely on Rikers Island. Too many people, they making money. It's contracts.
Where are the drugs into? No, as I was telling you, we know it's not coming in from the visitors because now I'm representing a number of women visitors. These women visitors have been going to a number of the city jails, Rikers Island, the Tombs in Manhattan, Brooklyn House of Detention. So you have women, mothers, sisters, daughters going to visit their husbands, brothers, fathers, baby daddy, and what's happening? You know, be sniffed by the dogs for a drug test, see if they're bringing in any. So they have various single reacting, and nothing is going off. The metal detector is not going off, and so these women have been singled out. They're being brought into a bath. Again, no cameras, and they're having unlawful searches done.
Yes.
If you're not sure what that is, that means you have these women correction officers that are putting their fingers and hands into women visitors' vaginas just for their fun, because they conceal weapons with them and they do not have any.
But you can't do it. You're not supposed to do a cavity search. That's
exactly, you're not supposed to. But you know how many people we have between a colleague and mine? We have over 50 women with 50 separate different stories from various jail cells within the city over the last 2 years. This has been going on. This is a continuing investigation that's been started with Sarah Wallace from Channel 4 from the
I met her. Yeah.
Right. And then I have a number of cases. So I've spoken to Sarah Wallace. I've spoken to Jim Dillon from Channel 7. This has been going on. It's been on television. It's been in the news.
Guess what? That's been going on since I came on the job.
And that's 20 years ago.
They had one female, and she wrote a book about it too. She put it in a book. She admitted, when she wrote her book, she admitted to molesting the visitors, the female visitors. She was gay. She was gay and she was a bully. And she admitted to it.
But these women are intimidated. They're afraid to say anything and make a report because they are afraid of the reprisal that could happen against their own loved ones.
Yeah, and they will.
Right. It's either that or they're getting those, they're being told that for 30, 60, 90 days, up to 365 days, that they're getting banned, that they can't do any visits.
Yep.
Wow.
And they don't even know this. You know how they found out? I had one woman client of mine. She went to go visit her fiance in one of the other jail buildings. And the male officer was very nice. He said, he goes, you're not supposed to be here right now. And she's like, what are you talking about? He said, I could have you arrested. He says, your name came up flagged that you're not supposed to be on any any correctional facilities, grounds for the next 6 months, because apparently she filed a complaint of how she was treated and manhandled when she was at the Tombs. He was then transferred to Rikers Island. She was never told this, with the intention that when she went to visit him at any of the other jails, she would have been arrested, all because she made a complaint about another correctional officer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay? So how's that for being intimidated and being a bully?
Well, that's what they look. They intimidate the inmates. They intimidate the officers.
And
they
families.
intimidate the visitors. Look, I got beat up by a male colleague as a rookie, and they covered it up. They covered it up to the point that I eventually just blocked it out until I started writing that book. So my thing is, I explain how male officers, you got to understand something. You are hiring. I came on a job, I was 21 going on 22. You become 17, you're still an adolescent. So say that's 5 years. So 5 years shy of a teenager. I'm carrying a badge, a gun, wearing a uniform, and in charge of grown men. Some of them older than me. A lot of people are not even mentally developed at that point, as far as maturity wise as well.
Right. It's just
to be in a position of power. That's a lot of power. And a lot of guys come on here and they're not ready for it. That's what I think. Because a lot of these assaults and all of this stuff is men. It's not the females going in there punching their, you have some, but it's not overall the females going in there punching them in the face. If anything, they'll punch the female punch an inmate in the face, and then here come the goon squad. If the inmate, disrespects her or something, then she got to do something. But you giving them, it's too much power. I don't think a lot of these people even mature enough to handle the job. Like that's a big responsibility.
Well, what do you think about some of these male correction officers that's been coming up in the last number of years that actually rape female inmates?
They rape female inmates, female officers, male inmates, male officers.
Is anything happening to them? Are they being brought up on charges,
No.
or is that also getting swept away?
They're swept away. They've been having sex with inmates. Look at the one that got his penis bit off in C95. He bringing that up from the sentence help or the help on the midnight tour. He, I guess, doing what he got to do on the midnight, and I guess he promised to do something and he ain't give it to him. He bit his penis off. He's gone now. He even murdered himself afterwards. He killed himself. But you got a captain that was molesting the adolescents.
The adolescents.
Yeah, he went to jail too.
Right, they're also abused.
Yeah. But them adolescents, you got to deal with them on a different level. They kids.
But don't they get special training to deal with adolescents?
No.
Special training. What about special training to deal with the mentally ill?
You don't get no special training. That's why I put in the book. They need to. They need to hire people that understand mental health. Because a lot of these guys in there, they're not all there. And you can't, they're going to spaz out. You can't treat them like you treat, I'm not saying they're supposed to get special treatment, but you got to handle them differently than you handle a normal prisoner. That's why I say if an inmate comes and punches an officer in the face, just because, that's not normal behavior.
Right.
That means he needs mental health attention.
So why aren't they getting
They
mental
don't care. Why should they? They don't care. Nobody cares about prisoners.
Okay, but what happened to the care, custody, and
They
control?
don't care.
That's bullshit.
It is. They don't care. Oh, they're going to care in a minute when we do this TV series, Rock Island TV series. They're going to care then. No, they don't care.
But Lamont, you say it's expensive, but it's taxpayer money right now that is causing all these facilities to be run. And if it's private money and if it's donations, somebody is keeping these jails running. So there should be proper training for correction officers. There should be medical attention provided. People should not be denied medical attention. If you're going in, you have diabetes, if you have asthma, if you're going there because and you're supposed to be on crutches or on a wheelchair, you can't just be left in there to fend for yourself, because now what's happening is it makes you a target for some of these other inmates to turn around and jump you.
Right.
Because
they don't care. And the thing of it, even to the point with the food, I'm thinking that, because when I worked on Rikers Island, they ate lovely. It was a lot of food. I mean, even though I seen rats and mice and roaches in the kitchen and sneakers in a coffee urn on the midnight tour. Yeah, I was telling George about that the other day. They used to bring the coffee urn around on the midnight tour and keep the officers up coffee, little big old giant coffee urn and little donuts on the side. You on the gate, you go to the gate and, you go get your cup of coffee so you can stay up. And someone told me one day, open up the coffee urn. I opened up to a big old sneaker was in there. I said, I'm done. But I used to be in the kitchen a lot. I used to have posts and mess halls, something like that. And, I'll go and walk in the kitchen, food just sitting on the counter. You got mice, it's like, oh my God. But at the same time, they fed them a lot. So my nephew, when he went upstate, I thought he was eating lovely. Like, I thought he was at least eating. No, they starving them. They giving them portion sizes, them little TV dinners, the small ones them Strofers things of a 5-year-old. No more meat. They took meat off the menu. It's soy. Everything is soy. And everything comes over in a bag. It comes over in a big bag and they pour it out and heat it up. They are starving them because what they're doing is they're trying to take away the muscle mass. Because if you take away the muscle mass,
you make them weak.
You make them weak and they can beat them down. If you notice back in the days, you knew when somebody came out of jail.
They were buff.
Yes, no, they coming out looking like crackheads now. So that has to change. So they're starved. My nephew is literally in there starving. If I don't send him money, or if I don't, now he's in a box. But if I don't go up there and he, when I go go see him, I'm spending $50 in the machine to eat. So he's not lying. And I'm talking now with the book and stuff. When I go, I get on a bus like everybody else with all the people.
Right.
And I sit there and I talk to them visitors. That's how I found out a lot of stuff too.
That's where they're getting the stories from.
Yeah, but it's plenty. No, the stories I'm getting them from inside. No, I'm getting ready to give y'all the dirt on stuff that I've seen, along with other stuff, but on stuff that I've seen, stuff that I've heard. Like, I'm getting ready to give y'all stuff that y'all will never be privy to, because officers keep it to them amongst themselves. It's like a secret society.
Well, when the police officers, they have what they call that blue wall of silence. Is there something similar to that?
Yeah, they got the blue wall of silence.
It's also a correctional officer?
Yeah, that's all. Where was y'all when I got beat down? It's black to me. I don't care about your blue wall of silence. I don't care about that.
So did anyone come to your assistance when that happened to you years ago?
No, that was when I first started. That was in 1984. No, a whole building turned on me.
Why?
When the guy hit me, because he was their favorite.
Wait, he was another.
He was a correctional officer. Yeah, he was a favorite, and the warden didn't like me. Warden Baines, Hollywood, we used to call him Hollywood. God bless the day, because he's gone. He didn't like me. So it was like they covered up, and they sent me to the Rikers Island Hospital, which was the AIDS hospital at the time. I realized that when I read the report in 2014. Mm-hmm. And looked at Rikers Island Hospital. Back then, that was an AIDS hospital. Most of the time, officers get injured, they go to Elmhurst.
So they kept you on the island?
Yeah, and they sent me to Rikers Island Hospital, and then that hospital told me, "Oh, we can't see you. Go see your physician tomorrow," because it happened, and by the time it's at night. The thing that made them even send me to the hospital is because they didn't know that I was dealing with Eric. So I got on the phone. I think he was assistant deputy warden then. And I called him up. I said, this guy just beat me up on the gate. So he made a call to the jail. Now everybody now everybody's running around. But I wrote, it was some little adolescent mess. I wrote what happened. I wrote the truth because I'm not into lying. And at the end of the day, he shouldn't have hit me. He left me with a bloody face and a fractured finger. He should have been arrested, and it was covered up. And that's what they do. They cover stuff up. So I'm going to uncover their stuff, and I'm going to put it on the screen. Oh, there'll be an episode in there, what he did to me. It'll be done to somebody else. So
How are we doing?
how are we doing?
So again, I'm going to tell everybody that I have sitting here with me today Robin K. Miller, and this is Robin's book, Inside the Dark Underbelly of Rikers Island. It's the perspective from a retired female correction officer speaks out, and she is going to blow the roof off of Rikers Island.
Rikers Island and primarily state prisons worldwide, not just New York. I'm hitting all of them from Florida, Pennsylvania, all of them.
Texas from one end to the
Yes,
other.
because and another one, the story I have to cover is the Darren, I think his name is Darren Rainey. He was the mental health patient inmate
Yes.
in Florida. And he smeared feces all on himself. He's mental health. Smeared feces. They had to put him in the shower. They put him in a scalding hot shower.
To burn him.
Yeah, for an hour. He died. His skin fell off when they pulled him out. He was screaming the entire time. COs let me out. They left, I think if it's supposed to be 160, they had it at 180.
So
And
they,
still-
they boiled him to death.
Yeah, and they got away with it. The DA or the
prosecutor.
Yeah, said the prosecutor said they didn't do anything wrong. Mm-hmm.
They boiled a man to
They
death.
boiled him with leaving the skin on the floor. Oh yeah, so I'm covering all of that. That's Rock Island TV series.
That's Rock Island,
And
ROCKK.
And please go to GoFundMe. I just need to raise money to film the first one. After the first one, I'm getting a budget. I'm not even worried about that. But this first one, I want to knock it out the park. So I just need, just to cover expenses. The editor, the clothing, locations. Yeah,
Props.
yeah, food.
Coffee with no sneakers in them.
Exactly.
Crane.
It's like I'm not even asking for $100,000. Right now I have it set at $10,000 at the GoFundMe.com.
You have to go to robinkmiller.com, and when you visit Robin's page, you can find out all about Robin K. Miller herself. You could purchase her book online, and then you could also click in on the top. You'll see the GoFundMe page portion, and please make a contribution because this is going to be an amazing TV series.
Yes, and then after that, after the TV series,
We're going movies.
yes, and that's when we really go to Rock Island.
And Lamont, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, Lamont.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you to everybody who has tuned in.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you. And you are here with me. I am Pamela Roth. I am an attorney. My office is located at 2747 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11235. You can reach me any time of the day or night at 212-766-8484. My office specializes in, as you could hear from the cases I've been discussing with Robin, I handle false arrest, malicious prosecution, excessive force cases, violation of civil rights, in addition to personal injury cases and all criminal cases, both state and federal. And what I would leave my audience with today is you can be arrested at any time. You could be found guilty and convicted at trial. You could take a plea of guilty. But one thing that never leaves you and one thing that you never lose are your civil rights. You need to be treated with dignity at all times, even if you are convicted of a crime, even if you plead guilty. You're still a human. You still have your civil rights. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you to Robin. And thank you for Lamont. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you.
I've got no ordinary plan. The things I dreamed of, forsaken I am damned. A distant calling draws me near. A faithless life is my one and only fear. Rescue me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Forgotten journey I must make. Rip from the pages, secrets I can't shake. A distant calling draws me near. A reckless life is my one and only fear. Rescue me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Rescue me. Rescue me. Oh, somebody save me. Let me know, should I let you go? Let me know, should I let you go? I've got no ordinary plan. The things I dreamed of, forsaken, I am dead.